Yes, I have finished my university course in arts to return to the world of YouTube. I actually took one in voice articulation as well, so that I can narrate in a superior manner. I, Kazuka, am back, and I have an all-new troll to deal with, one from the country that brought us Hugh Jackman. That is right, Australia. The troll is AngryAussie, a man who reinforces the Australian bogan stereotype of shouting everything angrily without intelligent thought. Up until now, I thought he was legit, but lately I have come to the realization he is just a troll. Of all his videos, I have picked out one where he attacks critics. I believe he is a troll because he is a social critic himself, bashing other critics for being critics. Do you see the flaw in this eternal logic? If not, hopefully you will by the end of this video. Enjoy.
G'day viewers, welcome once more to Wanga Fat Wednesday, where I tell you, who am I not giving a fuck about today?
The first flaw in his video. Clearly he gives enough of a fuck about the issue to bring it up, while simultaneously claiming that he doesn't give a fuck about it. That, my friends, is obvious troll bait, and it is just ridiculous.
And today, I'm not giving a fuck about a couple of well-known Australian film critics who've decided they don't want to review Wolf Creek 2 on their TV show.
I'm going to agree with you on this one. I think it is ridiculous critics refusing to review such a film. As a critic, you have to be willing to review whatever kinds of films come past your way. And especially considering that these are Australian film critics, and Wolf Creek 2 is the sequel to one of the most well-known Australian films today, I think it is only just to say that it's fair enough they review it on their television show to please the many Australian viewers. Of course, it is their show, they can review what they do and do not choose, but I agree that refusing to review Wolf Creek 2 is a little bit of a ridiculous idea.
The movie show, their names are Margaret Pomerantz and David Stratton. And look, let me put this out, as far as critics go, in Australia, they are by far the best. Like, there's no one else even in the picture. On the world stage, I would say these are among a very small number of film critics worth paying any attention to. I mean, I frequently disagree with them, I frequently agree with them, but they're critics. They express an opinion.
Yes, they review an opinion, just as you do in every single video you posted on YouTube.
And the makers of Wolf Creek 2 have gotten a bit annoyed with them, saying they're not going to review this. David Stratton's called it, it's nasty. All the words like torture porn getting thrown in there. I haven't even seen Wolf Creek 2.
Hold up just a second. You're going to do an entire video relating to a concept about a movie you haven't seen. You're defending something you are not aware of enough to have actually witnessed it yourself. Honestly, if you're going to want people to take you seriously, you're going to have to actually see something before you make a commentary on it. That's one flaw here, AngryAussie.
I may or may not go and see it. I won't be swayed by this.
And I am just going to stop here and say that I do agree with you on the idea that you shouldn't completely judge your opinion on a film that you haven't seen based on what critics have to say. Admittedly, a lot of people these days say something about films like Twilight, saying it is a terrible film series, yet who have not actually seen it. I personally used to do that myself, and admittedly regret it. Not as much as I regret actually watching the first Twilight movie, which truly was awful. But yes, it is important to keep your opinion of things independent, and not let them fully be swayed by someone else.
But what it is highlighting why I don't give a fuck about critics at all.
Like I said, clearly you give enough of a fuck about them to make a video, and now you're giving enough of a fuck about them to get your voice very riled up. You're getting a bit angry, Aussie.
And occasionally, when I'll express this online, a lot of people go, oh, but it's no purpose. This is usually people who do things, particularly people who do game reviews, go, but it serves a purpose. Well, no.
If voicing a critical opinion on something does not serve a purpose, then what exactly are you doing right now? What is your purpose in making a video that is anti-film critics? Is your purpose to spread a hate message about critics? To tell everyone in the world that film critics should not be respected for any reason whatsoever? Because frankly, that is propaganda, and I don't think that is a very good idea.
Honestly, you know what? It tells you a person's opinion, okay? And you know what? The shittiest Uwe Boll film has contributed more to cinema history than the best movie review ever.
This is the dumbest statement so far in this video. Like Wolf Creek 2, it is clear that AngryAussie has never seen a Uwe Boll film in his life. Uwe Boll is considered the worst filmmaker of today for making a streak of almost nothing but awful video game adaptations which lose millions of dollars and kill Michael Parré's career, yet he still thinks he is, quote, the only genius in the whole fucking business. The movie business, that is. Uwe Boll contributes nothing to cinema. Now let me give you 3 scenarios in which critics have proven to contribute to cinema. Number 1. Joaquin Phoenix. Before being nominated for the 2012 Academy Award for Best Actor for his performance in the film The Master, which I believe was the best performance of the year, he went into a tirade saying that the Academy Awards were bullshit. He later gave an interview amending his earlier comments and acknowledging that the Oscars provide an important platform for many deserving filmmakers. Therefore, the critics at the Academy Awards are the driving force behind people to keep going. The Academy Awards are even the reason Michael Caine decided not to retire from acting at age 80, since he wanted to win a 3rd Academy Award by the time he was 90. And a lot of people greatly respect Michael Caine. I know I do, and I'm glad that he's still acting into his 90s. Number 2. The 2003 film The Brown Bunny, which was notable for a controversial scene containing an actual blowjob in it, was named by critic Roger Ebert the worst film in the history of Cannes Film Festival. After getting into a conflict with director Vincent Gallo, both of them made peace, and Vincent Gallo changed his film so that it fit both his vision better and Roger Ebert's approval, as well as the approval of many more critics. According to Ebert, Gallo went back into the editing room and cut 26 minutes of his 118-minute film, or almost a quarter of the running time, and in the process, he transformed it. The film's form and purpose now emerge from a miasma of the original cut and are quiet, sadly effective. It is said that the editing is the soul of the cinema. In the case of The Brown Bunny, it is the salvation. Therefore, critics have helped artists achieve their dreams. Number 3. This is my personal favorite. After making it successfully as a director and writer, the Academy Award-nominated film Mona Lisa, filmmaker Neil Jordan experienced critical scrutiny for making 3 poorly received films: High Spirits, We're No Angels, and The Miracle. The only one I have seen is We're No Angels, and quite frankly, it was no angel itself. Facing critical scrutiny from critics, Neil Jordan returned home to make a low-budget, more personal project called The Crying Game, one of the greatest movies of all time, which was nominated for 6 Academy Awards and won him for Best Screenplay. It reinvented his career for the better. So even when critics tell people their movies are bad, it encourages them to make better films. Critics have contributed more to the cinema in centuries than you Boll could ever dream of. Therefore, your logic is flawed. Let's take, for example, the single worst Uwe Boll film, which arguably is actually all of them. But for this case, let's say it's the Jason Statham sword and sorcery film In the Name of the King, A Dungeon Siege Tale, an adaptation of the popular video game series, which looked cheap and had terrible editing as well as poor acting. The film lost nearly $47 million at box office and was a massive piece of shit. The only reason that Uwe Boll keeps on making films is because German tax laws say that if a film loses money, however much you invest into the film, you get back at the end of the fiscal year. Uwe Boll keeps making monies off shitty movies, contributing nothing to cinema regardless of what you say. And that has contributed much less to the world than Neil Jordan. So frankly, critics do a lot more than Uwe Boll.
And fuck anyone who thinks otherwise! Okay? 'Cause you know why? When he creates the films, even if they're shit, and I'm not saying they're shit, because he tends to beat up people who say his movies are shit?
Yes, here's the hilarious point. Uwe Boll is so insecure as a filmmaker that he has challenged various critics and people who have said that he is possibly a sad man to a fight. He has engaged in boxing matches with people and threatened to fight people. In one specific occasion, he threatened to box Michael Bay to prove who is the better film director. I know a lot of people find Michael Bay to be a shitty film director because he has made such travesties as the abominable Pearl Harbor and the recently crappy film Pain and Gain. However, I very much approve of many of Michael Bay's other films as they are simply good action films, and they are nowhere near as stupid as Uwe Boll's films. And I think that says more about him as a film director than a bloody boxing match could ever. The quality of a filmmaker is not judged on how good they can box, it's on how good they can make a film. Uwe Boll doesn't realize that, and that is one of the reasons that he is a terrible filmmaker.
But let's argue in the abstract. Maybe his films are shit. They're a film, and they got made, and they exist in their own right.
Wow, I was completely unaware of that. Did they teach you that in high school? Because they certainly didn't teach that to me.
You know what a film review is? Nothing without a film. A film reviewer doesn't exist without film.
Actually, they would exist, but it's something else. If Roger Ebert would not be a film critic, he would still be Roger Ebert. That is a completely senseless thing to say.
Films exist without reviewers and critics, okay? The critics, the reviewers, are fucking nothing!
To reiterate, critics have actually contributed a sizable amount to cinema in 3 different situations I have presented to you. And they exist, therefore they cannot be, quote, fucking nothing, regardless of what you might think.
Okay? And with all the people going, oh, but I... Fuck off!
You're really going to want to expand your points a bit clearer, because saying something like, oh but I, really does not reveal anything about what you're trying to say. So when you shout fuck off, it seems simply like you are shouting at nothing specifically.
Okay? If you're that fucking clever and can criticize something, go out and make something better, okay?
That's what several critics have actually done. Let me give you 3 more options. Number 1, Roger Ebert, one of the most famous critics of all time. During the 1960s and 70s, he wrote the screenplay for several sexually based comedies with film director Russ Myers. Situation 2, James Caan, Academy Award nominated actor from The Godfather and many other great films. He reviews many of his own films, among others. So he has contributed to cinema directly and has criticized his own work. Number 3, my personal favorite, Quentin Tarantino, the 2-time Academy Award-winning filmmaker, arguably one of the greatest filmmakers of today, and in my opinion of all time. He very commonly voices his opinions on films, and he is very radical about it. He was very happy with the final product of the recent movie The Lone Ranger, regardless of the fact that many other critics were disappointed with it. I personally enjoyed it. He also voiced his opinion on the surreal film Twin Peaks: Fire Walk With Me. I liked that slightly better than The Lone Ranger, but in his opinion, the director's head had disappeared so far up his own ass, a director he once loved named David Lynch. So one particular critic and filmmaker, Quentin Tarantino, of course a filmmaker first and a critic second, does contribute very much to cinema. So I don't get why you're shouting at him, or possibly other people, because it does not make sense.
Of course there are shitty movies! Of course there's shitty music! Of course there are shitty games! And everyone disagrees what falls under those headings, okay? But one thing there is not is a fucking critic that the world can't live without! The critics exist as fucking leeches, and I'm sick of people acting like they've got some sort of godlike meaning.
Here is where it comes down to it. You, Angry Aussie, are a critic of a lot of things. You're a critic of politics, of civil rights, and now of film critics. You are a critic of critics, among a lot of other things. And you yourself are, quote, a leech, because without all these, you would not exist. You would be pointless. So for you to go out and say that all critics are pointless, you are saying that you yourself are pointless. You are a leech. You are a drain on society and all these things. It is clear that you hate critics very much. You yourself are a critic. And this is most obvious. So this is where I get to the point where I believe you are a troll. You're criticizing people for doing the exact same thing you do, except a lot of people do it better and have contributed a lot more to society. Several critics I have listed have contributed to film. You have contributed nothing. You have made commentary on politics and civil rights, yet you have done nothing about it. You have done nothing to change the world, except tell a lot of people to fuck off, shut the fuck up, sit the fuck down, and get the fuck out of town. You have done nothing to improve society. All you have done is criticize it, and now you're criticizing filmmakers and film critics for the exact same reason, regardless of the fact that, as I have mentioned, they have in fact contributed much to society.
Okay? It's not! It's someone's opinion! I can go to the fucking pub and get someone's opinion if I want it. And yeah, if you like critics, fine, but don't fucking come up in my face and go, oh, the critics serve a purpose. The critics have more often than not got their head squarely up their own asses.
That is clearly where you've got your head stuck for you to be coming up with this kind of crap, you troll.
And if the medium didn't exist, they wouldn't exist. If they wouldn't exist, the medium would be fucking fine, okay? So fuck critics.
He's sending a message out to himself saying, fuck Angry Aussie, from Angry Aussie, love from Angry Aussie. Why are you doing this? You are very obviously trolling.
And fuck anyone who thinks otherwise!
Ooh, there is a personal attack on me. You are saying that your opinion is the only one that matters and everyone else can go fuck themselves. Yet at the same time you're saying all critics are fucking idiots. You yourself are a critic. Frankly, this is some of the most pathetic trolling I have seen in a long time, and it is laughable how much it collapses under its own weight. If, AngryAussie, you are not trolling, then I would be very surprised, because this is some of the most ridiculous bullshit I have ever seen and heard in my life, and would hope never to see it again, but knowing you that you are an unstoppable force, I'm sure that at some point you'll be back bashing critics again. What critics this time? Tennis critics? Food critics? I don't know. But either way, you yourself are a critic. By critiquing your work, I myself am a critic, and I can acknowledge that because I know, regardless of what you say, critics do serve a purpose. But if you don't think so, then you should stop making critical reviews, because you yourself are not serving a purpose whatsoever. So next time you decide to bash critics, or possibly bash all Australians as they also are very much like you, how about you think of this? I'm going to send you a message from yourself to yourself right now.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Just shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up and shut the fuck up! 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 You shut the fuck up! Just shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Sit the fuck down and shut the